Welcome to this little bit longer version of explaining the What.io dashboard and mainly the interactive guide and cross-reference table. So the dashboard is actually the first thing you see when you enter into What.io. And this is, of course, the administration, the web cloud administration of What.io. So as you see, you have to be logged in to actually have any kind of access to What.io, as this is a cloud administration. Obviously, it requires you to log in. So everything that is part of the database or the different databases is What.io will, of course, reflect in the data when you program a part or a product with What.io system. And as What.io system is a kind of a cradle-to-grave solution on a product lifecycle, using the NFC tag embedded into the product. And then, of course, with a tap of a single mobile phone, you will get and retrieve a lot of different data. But there's a huge amount of flexibility in the solution. And in this video, I will go through a little bit more in depth what can be done, and basically using only now the reference table to explain it to you. So up in the menus, you have dashboard. You can, of course, go to products, and these are products that are already in the system, basically created by my team at the design studio. There is, of course, also a material database, and there is two different types of materials. And we can also have brands and clients, and we can also then be part of different teams. So we can have private teams, we can have teams with clients, and so on and so forth. But in this video, we will not go too deep into how to create products. Instead, we will work with the cross-reference table. That's the intention. So what I said before was that this actually then demonstrates how will this particular product look in the product unit view when a product is tapped. And of course, you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of control. And obviously, what you need to do is you need to put a NFC tag on the product, in the product, and then you need to program that with the What.io application, which is available for Android or iOS. And then what will happen is that will cross-reference and connect that particular unique product with the data sets what we have. And one of the things you can also have a look, so this is completely interactive, as you see. And to prove to you that it's unique, you can see that when you tap a product, it will get the NFC tag serial number. And that's actually something that is stored here in the administration. So actually this list will go on and on the more units you fabricate or manufacture. And every time you tap something, that serial number will end up here in the list. And you will see the manufacturing date and time, who did it, what was the team owner, and so on and so forth. So that's actually visible here. That's something which you can, of course, then not control yourself. But let's start from the beginning. So you see they have the ability to have 3D rendered or real pictures. That will basically be the first thing anyone sees when they tap a product. So from where you control that product images, which is of course on the higher level, is in the product page editor. So when you build up a new product, you have an editor, and this is the place where you can actually upload these images, so they will be visible in the first part of the unit view. You can also add a 3D view, and we are using Fusion Embed, the uplinked 3D parts. And if you put in the uplink link here, you will actually give the ability, and you will have a 3D button where you can view the products in 3D and use all the different Forge capabilities of the Autodesk online application. Moving further down, you see there is the name, and the product name is then clearly added in the product info dialog box. And you will see also that it's very clear that we have clear sections. So there is the first initial product introduction. Then there is product data, like the NFC tag number. There is product codes. How this is manufactured is actually on the parts. You have when this manufacturing date and time. And obviously, we anticipate that the NFC tag is programmed at the time of manufacturing because that will be the actual date. The place of manufacturing will be in your team owner settings because the team owner will be, in this case, the subcontractor or the fabricator. The country is the same, and the logo and the link to the manufacturing info, there might be a visibility where you would like to show and explain more things on your own website, and that could be added here on each single product. The brand, however, that's a different part of the system. So when you set up your client that you work for, or the client is also part of the team, the brand information needs to be added. So you can update logos, you can upload. Of course, you can write in the name, you can link to their website, the city, and so on. You can also add phone numbers and emails if there is a need for that. And of course, there is options not to show this if you don't want to. Then we go more into deep on the material data. And the material data is something that is set in the material section. So this name of have to be part of the database. So the main material and the secondary material have to be set in the actual database. But this is where the data is coming from in the material database. So there is material codes, there is color codes, material information, and then, very importantly, depending on the material data you actually choose, each of these materials have their data sheets and their material safety data sheets uploaded. So basically, by uploading that in the material section, which might be done by somebody else already, you have the ability to then showcase this for in the product unit view. So how to control this on the product level is in the product page editor. Here you can set the main material and the secondary material. We currently only allow 2 of these. Every product can carry 2 material data sheets. And you can also write some information about it. So let's move over to spare parts. So spare parts is a quite interesting fact, because with spare parts, you have the ability to actually work in an assembly and a sub-assembly view where it's actually the product which carries the NFC tag, but the product consists of multiple spare parts. And these spare parts are uploaded individually under your product, and then they can be retrieved if you like it, and they are then using the part image. You can also click on these, and actually, if you allow self-printing, you can also allow for 3D download, or you can put a link where you go to your web shop like WooCommerce or Shopify, and where they actually can buy these spare parts directly. So the whole spare parts section is controlled by, depending on what kind of parts you're adding and putting up, and what you allow the user to do. You can also add support, so there will be a kind of a support image. You can also add assembly information. That could be like a URL. And you can, of course, also add support requests, text how to assemble these products. You can add assembly drawings. In this case, it's a PDF you upload. And when the user clicks on this in the unit view, they will actually retrieve the drawing for you. And then you also can have a movie. If you have an assembly movie, how to put things together, you have the ability to set this movie, this short link, to YouTube in this case. and you will only see actually the short links with everything removed in the data field, which is a copy paste exercise, by the way. Let's move over to recycling. So on the recycling level, of course, we're also again digging into the database, and this is connected to what material you then set as main material. So in this case, you can see that the main material is bioderived. No, it's not biodegradable. And all this data goes on, and you can find out where this data is coming from. And you can also add links if you have more recycling information. It can link to your website where you might have information about special machines for recycling, special companies for recycling, and also if you maybe want to retrieve the information back to your factory, that's also a capability. The resin code is automatically added if it's a number that fits the RIC system. You can, however, add your own recycle logos. So if in this case it's a bio-derived material, you can add these kind of things, and you have the ability to add other things there, photographs and these kind of things. When we move over to the manufacturer section, which will, by the way, be the last section of the unit view, it actually looks into your team owner settings. So you as a manufacturer, you can also add this data. And of course, this is ability for the product owner to switch this on or off if you don't want to show who is the manufacturer. So there is a text about the company, you have a logo, and you can also provide images and videos in this last final section. You can also add huge amount of other information, which is part of your team settings. Who was the production engineer, if you want to go that detail. Again, where was the manufacturing done, and the website, and these kind of things. And it's all coming from your team owner setting. So as you see, it's quite comprehensive. And of course, this is now in this cross-reference, this shows the maximum amount of information that is retrievable and it's connected in the system. You can program these to have less, and that is obviously done in the product page editor. So there's a lot of abilities when you go into a product that you have the ability to actually go much less. So you can put that you don't want to show brand info, you can switch it off, you can enable different sections, and that makes it easier for you in the beginning to actually show less information on the product view. And since this is all done on the server side in the cloud, if you update here, every component you have done will be updated. So one last thing, there is also a full redirect opportunity to do. You can redirect the link directly to another site. That means that you override then temporarily the view, so you will not see anything from what IO standard product view. You will redirect immediately. However, this is very useful for using dynamic URLs like typically WooCommerce, Shopify. Sometimes other websites, they have a tendency of changing the URLs, and that will, of course, if you program that directly into the chip, you might have a broken link. This will never break. So you have always the ability to change the URL here and update it at any point of time as the years go by. And at any point of time also, if you go back and say use WhatIO product page, everything is still stored, and the only thing that will happen now is that actually when we save this, it will go back to its original state, and we will again see the product unit view when we tap a product. So this was the introduction to the WhatIO dashboard and how that can be used. And this was a little bit longer video to go a little bit more into depth. What is the opportunities and potential with WhatIO? Thank you very much.